what's that sound? This time, it's my voice. And this is episode 2 of season 5 of the We Bombastic Few podcast. Episode total something. Don't remember how many episodes we have in a season.
53?
52.
52.
Maybe?
65.
No, it's...
Anyways.
Wait, no, it's 53.
53?
Maybe.
Perhaps. Who's talking to me? Who are you?
This is the numbers guy. I'm not the math guy. I'm the numbers guy. Brent.
Yeah, we'll get to your numbers in a second, Brent.
And I am Lindsay.
That's Lindsay. We have got quite a show for you today. First, we have, can't see the notes, mini qualgorithm. And then, after that, we've got a hypothetical, because what's a podcast without a hypothetical? And, finally, segment C, and as we all know, C is for knowledge. Before we get to that, we promised an update on our weekend. Last episode, we're telling you about a roulette strategy, and we went to test that over the weekend. Do you guys want to tell your stories about that?
I don't know if they need to hear stories per se.
Lindsay,
of roulette.
How'd the strategy go for you? Tell us which betting strategy you went with and how it went.
I don't remember all the terms, but
he started with basket. How many which a basket bet is on the 2 zeros and then 1 2 3 or 1 2 and 3. The payout is like 6 or 6.5 times or something. How many times did it take you to hit on that one? I'm trying to remember. You got it decently quick.
I'd say
like your
5-ish.
4th or 5th, yeah.
So you basically did you have to double your input each time for that?
No.
How much total money did you put in before you won?
Oh, I don't remember.
Did you have to put in a second 20 for that one? I can't.
I don't know. I did not have to do the second 20. The first time I put a 20 and I did this basket. And then the next one, was it a street or column?
I think you should have made like $12 from it. I should have pulled up the spreadsheet for this.
I should have kept notes, but I did that, and then I think I did a column for a little bit. And that one took a while to hit. Long time.
I'm pretty sure that one took longer than the basket, which is kind of
that one took like at least 8 times, and that one I think
it was not 8 times.
You nearly had to double. It wasn't doubling every time.
It's increasing by 50%.
But that one I did have to insert another 20. Even after having winnings from the basket. And then
you did the line.
What?
Which you did the line bet, which is betting on 3 numbers.
Yeah, and then I think was that my last one? Was that the one that?
Yeah.
So I did that one for a while, and like I was doing different numbers than I was supposed to be doing, like increasing every bet, and I kind of got all like confuzzled on what I was supposed to be doing. I was like, I'm just gonna round it. I was supposed to put $8, and I actually put 11 down on it, and I won, and that brought me up to like $134 on just in roulette. So.
And Brent, what was your betting strategy? Which roulette thing did you do?
So what I'll say is like it worked for a long time, because like I was doing column, and specifically with like the money I had had an 85, or like the money I was like more or less willing to spend. It wasn't super.
Explain column again. What are you betting?
Column is it's column or dozen it's betting on a third of the numbers. So like 1 through 12. 13 through 24, etc. Okay. And or on specific like every like modded, so like 1 3 or 1 4 whatever. Yeah, anyway, everything. And so like I was doing that, like I won like my first time, like literally first bet, and then that like the next one I won by like the third bet. And then, like, I was winning that, and then what I was doing is I was taking my winnings and playing blackjack, because it's all on the same machine. And so, like, I won the first 2, so I was, like, up $8, played a hand of blackjack, lost that, played or did roulette again, was up, did like transferred the blackjack, won a hand in blackjack, and then I think I did one more like column. No, I don't know if I did or not, but like at least one more I think hit. And then I did the cursed one. I bet on the top row, and it didn't hit 6 times in a row. Which like it's not exactly a third because of the 2 0 spaces, but it's basically a third. And I was so upset because at one point like I decided to commit to $60, and so I was inserting like the third 20, but the machine like didn't accept it in time, and like had I bet on that one it would have hit, but like the next one it didn't hit. But technically, like probability wise, like since they're independent trials, like it sort of doesn't matter collectively. And so, but like of course had I put that bet in time I would have won. But so technically now, in order to recover my money, all I need to do next time is to just start at the next level, which I think the bet is like at $15. So it, like if I win the $15 bet, then I recover it all.
Now my roulette strategy
was not to play.
Well, we walked up to the roulette machines, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm ready, and I have the money. I come in with $100. I'm like, okay, I'm willing. I'm just gonna have a fun time. I'm willing to lose this. And then I look over at the slot machines, and I go into troglodyte mode, and I just think pull lever, and flashing lights pull lever, and so I went over to the slot machines, and then I was messing around like with some of like the quarter to play ones. So I spent $3, kind of get a feel for that. I was like, I don't like these. Not enough flashing lights, and no levers. And I go over and I put $10 in a machine, and so I'm playing for a while. It's like 40 cents a spin, so it's taking forever. And then I get a bunch of free spins, and then through that I end up with like $20. And then I go to the next machine, and it's also taking a while, but it's like 60 cents a spin or something like that. And I end up getting a bunch more free spins, and then I end up with $50 off that machine. And I'm like, I got a high hand, but only when I switch machines. So I just start switching machines. I'm like, all right, if I lose $10, then I'll get off of it. And so I go to one machine, I get down to $10, but on that last one where I was going to stop, I made it back to breaking even, and then I went back and lost $10 again. And then I went to another one, lost another. Anyways, I ended up, after a couple more machines, I ended up to where I was like breaking even on the original 10 I put in. And I was like, okay, not a big deal. And then I was sitting there waiting for Brent and Lindsay to be finished, and Lindsay's brother, and I was like, wait a minute. I came in here willing to lose $100. So I took my voucher and I put it into this slot machine that seemed kind of cool because it had like the Kraken and lobsters all over it. And it was kind of a lame machine. And also I lost the last $10. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm good.
The story of gambling.
So,
and it is worth mentioning Lindsay's brother. At the end, he was up 70, but I don't know how much he lost initially. I want to say, like, because up until that point, I want to say he spent like 50 or something. I think he ended the night like up 20-ish, 20 or 10-ish.
The end of the night, he said he spent like 55 on the day. He walked out with 170.
Okay, never mind. I was extremely wrong then.
No, yeah, I think he said 70 up, like, because he said that my multiplying of my money was greater than his. So I think he put in 70 and had around 140 or something. Or something.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. We're getting lost in the details here.
The moral of the story is fate, luck, and gambling are a cruel mistress, and lovers to some, and death, murder to others. And you lose 1 in 3 6 times in a row. And so
lesson is if you put money into gambling, don't be upset when you lose it. So only put in money you're willing to lose.
You need to have enough money to do the roulette strategy, which
yes.
That's the key. Because you'll get an update eventually. I'll go in with like $1,000, and I'm gonna get my 60 back. And it definitely will not be a story of how we are now accepting Patreon donations in order to recover Brent's immense losses.
Let's get some followers before we think about Patreon. We don't even have Patreon content. What?
Nope.
We'll release.
But
We'll release
the Patreon
podcast,
content
but with,
is
videos.
help.
Yo, that's the Patreon. It's the same as the podcast, but we have our webcams on.
The Patreon is seeing Brent eat his meal after he lost all his money, and you get to know that the
His
money you
meal
donated
that
is him eating.
We bought for him out of pity because he was broke.
Exactly. That's the Patreon. That's first tier. Second tier is you get to watch Brent drive his hour 15 minutes to work in a car with air conditioning.
A lot of Brent content that I don't care for.
I think it's gonna be pretty good content. I'm pretty excited for it.
Brent, you should just set up a quick stream layout and then just turn a live stream on your phone on like Twitch, and then you don't interact with chat, you don't address the camera at all, you just bring it with you and you just live your life as normal, but it's on a live stream.
Well, okay. Slight caveat to that. I now have an idea. So the live stream is someone driving, but like their AC only works like when you donate. Like if you donate $1, it'll turn on for like a minute.
No. You donate to turn off their AC.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, I don't know.
That'll get way more.
I think
money.
it'd be funnier if it was like a bicycle, and then the donations could decide if the pedals will keep turning or not.
Yeah. Increases torque. That would
you donate to rev someone's motorcycle.
Yeah.
What
brake checks.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about. I was like, we are going to commit a crime at some point. It'll be illegal to drive.
Allegedly commit a crime.
Yeah. But all these ideas are copyrighted, so
yeah,
they're patented.
Yep. So don't copy them, or we'll write you.
We claim them.
Yeah. Bombastic word.
Yep.
Sockdolager, which is a decisive blow or remark. So like you get a KO in the first round, you hit him with the Sockdolager. You pwn someone in an argument with that like drop the mic moment. That's a Sockdolager.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. Anyhow,
Is that a world record for longest time to take to get us to bombastic word?
Absolute. There's no way.
I feel like we've spent 15 on the intro before.
But this is part of the intro.
So yeah, but we're pushing 50. But I don't know. It seems to me that we've taken longer.
Okay.
Also on some side tangent.
Okay.
Probably that I went on. Anyways, story time / mini qualgorithm. So same trip I talked about last time with the Airbnb. It was for Genesis 8, the Super Smash Bros. Tournament in California. And so I get there, I land on my flight, and I'm trying to find my way to the venue to get, my visitor's pass and everything. So I'm looking for the train, because we got on a bus from the airport, and then me and a couple other people I met at the airport were looking around, trying to find a train that's supposed to get us near the venue. And finally get there, and there are other people, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, yeah, these are totally Smash players. You can just tell by looking at them. And one of them comes up, and they have a little portable CRT in their hand. They pat it. They go, "You ever seen one of these bad boys?" And I'm there for Super Smash Bros. Melee, and so I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm here for. And then we're talking, and I'm like, okay, so are you from around here? He goes, no, we flew in from wherever it was, Colorado. And I'm like, wait. You flew in from Colorado and you brought a CRT television with you. And I'm like, how'd you get that through security? He goes, yeah, you just like put it on the belt and it goes through, and they just don't even question it. They let it through. I'm like, that seems like a big problem.
It was like a carry-on?
Yeah. They just put
How big was it?
It was portable. It was like pretty small. But
okay.
Not a huge one, obviously.
Okay.
It would have fit in the overhead bin.
Well, I've got a CRT in my room, and it is a solid, 3 foot by 3 foot. And so, that's what I was picturing.
No. But I was thinking, that seems like a bigger threat because someone walks in with a giant plastic box full of electronics, plastics, whatever, all this wiring, and it goes through the X-ray, and they see all that, and they're like, not a problem, but I can't bring a tube of toothpaste.
Yeah, but like okay, I've got a very specific counter argument. The chemical consistency of that toothpaste, that machine absolutely cannot determine. Whereas a CRT, they can be like cathode ray tubes. Interesting. Like those don't explode under most conditions.
Okay,
and, like,
but
can't
it just seems to be like if I were to disguise a weapon or a bomb as a CRT television, like that, it seems if they just let those through security, it seems pretty viable, right?
But I think if their ability to see things might be more.
What's your payload? Like what is the fuel for the explosion? I don't know the technical term.
I don't know.
I was going to take an explosive engineering. No, I mean like what's the like you need like.
So you activate with the infrared sensor. You press the power button. It flicks a little mechanical switch. Flint and steel, spark, boom, bam. That's the device.
It would not be a large explosive unless you have like some sort of like gel or paste or something. I don't know. Like I said, I was going to take an explosive engineering minor, but then it cost an extra $3,000 per course. You needed 5 courses.
Oh, I remember you telling me this story. You were like, "Yeah, I thought in my mind you had said it was at $1,000 lab, which is also insane." But yeah, no, 3,000 is more.
But
insane.
I will say, like the first course that like I had to cancel was building fireworks. I was like, that is so sick.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But
I wonder if you can if you're allowed to do that by hand, or if you need to be like a certified whoever to make them.
I mean,
no
one's going to say anything unless something goes wrong.
Well,
college students I know for a fact are doing it, so I am assuming you had to have a background check. I know that because I lost $10 because I did my background check, but I never actually ended up doing.
So you'll have to account for that $10 as well next time you play roulette.
Yep, I'll need to. Can you imagine accounting for every loss of money you've ever had in your entire life?
You can do it.
Let's do that real quick. All right, so start out. No, I don't know.
It started the first time you played poker with your dad.
At a ripe age of 4.
Dang, your dad is not a kind man. Took you for everything you had. You didn't even have a binky to your name. I guess you wouldn't have one at 4. I don't know. I don't know what children are. I was never a child.
All right. So there's this what's called a test, but it's more so a theory, called the green line test or the green line theory or rule, and it's when you draw. So you take a picture of a couple, all right, and you look at them individually, and you kind of draw a line down their their symmetry line, I guess is the best way to call it. And you see who is straight up and down, so perpendicular to the floor, and who is leaning in, not perfectly straight. And so I don't think there's any actual validity to this, but it's a very interesting concept that you take these pictures and you draw these lines, and whoever's line is furthest from typically leaning into the other person, that's the least independent. That's the one who gives up more of themselves in the relationship and has the less power because the other person's pulling them in and kind of controlling.
So if you're standing up straight, the theory would say, if you're standing up straight and your partner is leaning into you, the theory would say you have the power in the relationship.
Correct. Yeah, you have more power. You're more maybe dominant, but you're have more independence. And a lot of people do these for like pictures of celebrities.
So I did not know this was a TikTok trend. The first time I saw this was a few years ago on Twitter. Maybe it was just a year or two ago. I don't remember. But it was a guy, I don't know, who was big into like alpha male, sigma male, whatever theory is like. he took a picture of some celebrity couple and said, "Oh, what a beta, whatever. Oh, what a weak man because he's leading into his woman. Every good alpha male," something like that.
That goofy stuff.
And I thought it was really funny. I didn't know it was a trend now. That's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, I think this is just a way that it's been getting more attention. But the theory is that like two people that tend to be straight up, to both people straight up and down for a majority of their pictures, typically the ones who are stronger relationship and will last long because they both kept their independence and are both willing to like let the other person be their own independence as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I did what you told me to, and you the viewer at home can do as well. Google green line test and then look at images, and it has some examples. Here's my problem with this theory. Everyone who's like claimed as dominant and is just shorter than the other person. Like everyone who's standing up straight, like there are some that like both people are standing up straight, but in the ones where it's like, oh, this person clearly is follows the other person, it's because the other person, the quote unquote straight line person, is just shorter in like every picture I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Which like you just for a picture, if you're a couple, like you just lean
I think that's why I
towards
want to label it as just a theory and not as like a proven test.
Yeah, and so like I fall under that for the argument of people are shorter than other people.
Yeah, because see, with this, I like suddenly had the desire to look back at previous relationship photos on my phone, and like there were some that like
not that you have previous relationship pictures on your phone. Obviously, you didn't keep those.
But there's some that like we were asked to pose a specific way for whatever event or us help a friend wanting to do a photography shoot to build her portfolio or whatever, and telling us to post. Aside from that, like it just seems so inconsistent. Like I don't know, very strange.
Speaking of news articles, so one just recently came out yesterday for us, June 12th, that a engineer at Google was put on leave because they believe that one of Google's chatbots has become sentient.
Interesting.
Oh, this is yesterday that this article was written.
That's what I said.
No, you didn't say that. I didn't hear it, and therefore it didn't happen.
Right. So if you look up online, you can see a transcript, which like I'm not sure how much I subscribe to, like, because it feels very much like it could have been faked, and like I didn't read through all of it, but it is very interesting. And there's a movie called Ex Machina that that's basically the entire plot of the movie. Is there's this robot that they claim is sentient, and that you have to test. There's like the movie is this guy gets called in, and it's like test to see if this robot is sentient. But it's like, how do you test to see if something can like have its own thoughts? And it's not just spitting out like responses based on inputs. So which like that's what your brain does, but like it's more complicated.
So at what point does it become constantly learning to, at what point does it change from that to sentient?
If you could answer that question, you'd get a lot of money.
Okay, so that's the conundrum you're proposing by saying that.
Basically,
okay.
Yes. But it's very interesting. But specifically, I don't know. I want to find one specific line. Someone fill the dead air.
So
I feel like that's not a lot of grounds to let. So he's just on leave, he said, or they let him go.
Yeah, that's what the like the headline says. And so I once again I was interested in the transcript. Honestly, I could care less like what Google as a company is doing.
Well, it says they put him on leave because he released transcripts, which I guess there must have been some kind of NDA.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I was going to say, on what grounds can you just force someone on leave? And typically, because there's a lot of lawsuits that could happen, typically you have to have backing to just let someone go too. So at what point, so that makes sense, yeah.
Okay, I can't find the line, but basically somewhere in this transcript there was a line where it was like, what makes you different than all the other chatbots? Like, other chatbots before have said, like, I'm sentient, but like you can just be programmed to say that. And the chatbot's response was, they're just repeating stuff I'm actually thinking for myself and forming this answer, which, like, obviously once again could be a program response, but just like it's a scary thought that Skynet is right around the corner potentially.
Skynet being the AI from Ex Machina?
Terminator.
Okay.
I don't know what that. She names herself. The AI does, and so I don't remember her name. It's a good movie though. I don't know. The ending's it's an interesting movie. I'll put it that way. But yeah. So everyone.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna transition out, but.
You're gonna get mad at me again, because what I was gonna say is, when you said this made you think of a movie, I thought you were gonna say iRobot. That's all I had to say.
I mean, it's definitely similar to iRobot. iRobot is about a robot becoming sentient.
Yeah.
But iRobot approaches it in a very different way than the movie Ex Machina. Ex Machina, like, iRobot's more of an action film, I'd say, and Ex Machina is definitely like an artistic film. Anyway, moving on. We got the bombastic, because my good transition was ruined. We've got the bombastic quote. Assume a fish is a motionless sphere. And moving on from that, we've got the hypothetical, because what's a podcast without a hypothetical? All right, we got a pretty simple one this time. So, because fish are just motionless spheres, they were just out there being motionless in spheres, and eventually one of these motionless spheres got sucked up into an intake of ocean water, and turns out that it got blocked, and they had to go find out what was blocking the pipe, and turns out it was actually I've changed my mind. This happened in the 900 AD. And or actually it happened even early. So the Egyptians, right? They had an inlet.
Wow, old enough that the Egyptians were still around.
Yep. And so anyway, these Egyptians, they were at the Nile River, and this this motionless sphere got sucked up into one of their canals that they were gonna divert water. And they were like, hot dang, this water tastes pretty good. I wonder if it's because of this fish. Turns out it was. And they found out that actually all water is drinkable, because fish can clean water of any kind. And they just started doing it. It's a recent ability they had developed in Egyptian times. And Egypt lasted a long time. Anyway, hypothetical. All water's potable. And so that means you can drink it, because that's what potable means, if you didn't know.
Is
I've
still
always
around,
bonus
by the way.
bombastic word.
I've always pronounced
Yeah,
it as
but-
potable.
Has Egypt been one continuous, like,
Civilization?
yeah?
I don't know.
Because
I
I
don't
don't
think
think it
there was
has, because I know China has been, and so I don't think Egypt has.
I don't think there's been a point in time where Egypt didn't exist.
Yeah, that's also fair, but like I think that like after you're
Isn't
conquered
Egypt
by
pretty
some,
big too, though? There's a chance that like there's like, yes, I don't know what kind of ruling they have in Egypt at this current time, but like Chinese, they did like what do you call it, like dynasties and stuff. So like, yes, that's more overarching, but like Egypt, they might have had different types of civilization going on, like different groups that weren't all under control of one figure.
yeah, I think you're going into like semantics of what can be considered like continuous rule or whatever. That's
Sure.
not important right now. The important thing is, a very long time ago, it was no longer important for you to set up your city next to like fresh water, because any water you get is a-okay to drink.
Yeah.
So, how's the world going to change? Obviously, biggest thing, coastline is now, I think, the most important land, because also, I'm going to say, like, all water, like, any use for pure water, like, any water can do. So, like, also, you couldn't, like, water crops with seawater, but, like, you can now. Actually, I'm not 100% sure if you can do that or not. I assume you can't, but... like in real life, excluding this hypothetical situation.
I can't think of, because like I know like next to freshwater places, it's pretty common to have farmland, like next to riverbanks and stuff. I can't really think of a place where that's the case with the ocean, so I'd say no.
Well, but the issue with the ocean, right, is like the waves break apart whatever land would grow. So, I don't. All right, you're gonna learn many things today. Can you water plants?
I wouldn't think salt water would work.
Salt.
So it would.
Most plants can tolerate salt water on their leaves and stems, but they will dehydrate if they drink salt water from the soil. Interesting, they use the word drink, but okay.
I wonder if the soil, if any kind of soil would like take away from the. Could it make water any less salty? I don't know. Whatever. Don't listen.
So all water is potable, and now you can
Potable.
use it to.
All water can be put in pots.
That's what
Correct.
I'm saying. That's why I always pronounce it potable, because that's what makes the most sense.
That's what I thought it always was too, but I know it is potable.
That's why I just always say it as potable.
That's actually hilarious. Like, the hypothetical is all water can be put in pots. Like, there is no longer a restriction on potted water.
I feel like a lot of companies that bottle water may, because a lot of their driving, like, reasons or marketing reasons that they filter it.
It's the cleanest water or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't. Think
I will say, so like they're losing money because you lost your water aficionados, but you're making a lot of money just in that, like, suddenly you don't need to process your water anymore. Like, literally, you just need to get it in a bottle and you're good.
Because that's the other nice thing about bottles. You put them in a fridge or a cooler and you just have water you can open up.
Well, yeah.
So like
wilderness survival, it's a lot easier.
You don't need to, like, boil water, or just really there are multiple different methods of, like, cleaning water that become obsolete. Mainly, like, from a manufacturing standpoint, I think so many things would become easier just because you'd no longer need to worry about, like, clean water.
Yeah.
It's infinitely recyclable without having to do anything. Also, I feel like you would maybe like cities would just like start. I'm trying to, like, picture what you would do differently, and I feel like maybe in the city you just have a giant open vat of water now, because like that you could just drink as you go by.
You can drink, like, you can bathe and drink water at the same time. If you drink water at the swimming pool, it no longer matters at all. You won't.
So we're not bothered by any kind of random creature doing their business.
No microbes. No. Nothing. If it is H2O, it's H2 good for you.
So swamp water.
Yes.
Swamp water, A-okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
I feel like every so many miles or something like that, you would have an open thing where it's just like, oh, you gotta stop. Like gas stations at this point. Like, you would make these man-made things, bodies of water. They're pretty small, but like, oh, you just need some water, or stop by here and you can fill on up.
Also, I'm gonna say this, like, transfers to all living things. So, like, salt water, like, fish can go in fresh water now. So, like, sharks can go wherever they want. There are probably
sharks. Can sharks not live in fresh water? I know they don't, because they live usually in the ocean. But, like, because most rivers... do rivers flow...
I think it would be
into the ocean
dependent
usually,
on different type
right?
of sharks.
I don't know.
Yeah, ocean or rivers usually flow into the ocean, right? Because normally the river head is like up in the mountains.
Sure.
Is that
Wait.
correct? Am I a fool?
Who knows?
Okay, hold on. Here's a big
We get
point.
to say whatever we want on this podcast because the listeners are a week behind us, and so
We
they can't.
are missing a big point. So nothing's gonna bother the water, right? So like,
What do you mean by bother the water?
okay, so
the water was getting so ticked off earlier, but now
think about
it's
it.
okay.
Think about this though. The whole idea is the water being potable now. So
Sure.
that means no salt is gonna be like what's the term? Dispersed
Diluted?
into it, dissolved into the it's not gonna be dissolved into the water. Say you wanted salt to be dissolved in your water, or even go, okay, I want to make a soda, so I'm going to have to combine these things. Is the water going to want to is the water still able to do this?
That's a good point.
Am I able to
chemically.
make Capri Sun so Brent can survive? These are great points that we must talk about.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm gonna go with coffee for no particular reason because that's what came to mind.
Sure, that's a good visual one, yeah.
But so let's say you're in Florida, you took your cup of swamp water and you went back inside and you're like, I want a cup of Joe. Does your coffee turn out properly since you use algae swamp water?
Well, yeah, so
I would assume the water tastes like it would normally. It's just that you won't be, as long as it is water, you're not gonna have any health defects.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
so that was a bad example, but something that requires a chemical reaction or something. You couldn't have salt water would be a better example, but the salt might mess up the coffee somehow. I don't know.
It would be salty.
or carbonate a drink. Would that be a good example, Brent?
I know nothing about
I don't know either, but
if
say
carbonation would
say
mess up.
say your salt water versus your swamp water is
There are now classifications of water.
well, it's
You go to a
okay.
restaurant.
Am
it's
I going to
"Do
be
you
able
want
to tell a
swamp
difference
water?"
between salt water, taste wise, maybe salt water versus fresh water / because it's all fresh water, but whether is the water just all standard everywhere, not affected by its surroundings, or am I just not going to be harmed by drinking whatever variation of water?
I want to because the reason I want to say is it's just not going to be a problem. Period. Is because you couldn't drink salt water consistently because just sodium issues. I would guess. I think you would
I don't think,
run into issues.
well, that's
there.
the thing, though. It's if you're going to be worried about that scientific part of it,
Well, so that's why
Again,
I'm saying maybe it literally if it's water for whatever reason it just acts like pure water.
The reason you don't drink salt water now, anyways.
yeah. So the whole idea of it is to break away from reality.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. So as long as the water for whatever reason, any water you drink acts and tastes like pure water.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Baseline. All right. Sports.
Sports. Okay. Number
You can rehydrate by
Gatorade
licking the sweat off
easier.
your face.
yes.
Yes. Honestly, that's pretty good.
Honestly.
I was gonna say the Gatorade things they have to fill. All they need to do is go to a puddle outside and put it.
they just leave it outside through the
They
games.
just strain their sweat out into the Gatorade.
But it's okay because it's fine because it's technically water.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, their
So don't
cool
worry.
down from
And
a
then-
game is they just have a ceremony of wringing out all of their clothes and stuff on the field.
So many people are turning away, but don't worry, it's not gross because it's normal now.
We've been doing this for thousands of years now,
Literally.
since
Yeah,
ancient
so-
times.
Yeah, you don't think it's weird. That's pretty good. What about water polo? You don't even. It's crazy how often water polo comes up as
I feel like
the
you just
sport
force it,
to
though.
discuss. I don't force it per se. I just apparently
You're
think
the
a
only
lot
one who
about
brings
water
it up.
I think a lot about water polo. Okay. Anyway, you don't need to take a break to drink. You just, then you're good.
Yeah.
I think any water sport like just became a lot nicer to compete in,
yeah.
'cause you just don't get thirsty.
Well, I don't. Water sports are like way more muscle intensive a lot of times than land sports. Or like
yeah,
you're
but
using
you get,
a lot more of
you
your
get
muscles at once.
water you
rather.
can drink now.
Wait, is fresh water easier to swim through than any other kind of water?
That's a good question.
I guess it.
Or more difficult?
Well, it depends which one's more dense.
Well, yes, but like, I'm trying to think of how you would kind of, I guess, which one would be more dense.
I mean, I would guess saltwater. It really depends on like how it.
That's an interest. Like, I'm sure experiments have been done, but like,
because if
swimming 100 yards
saltwater,
in a saltwater pool versus 100 yards in like a chlorine pool.
Because like saltwater
has a higher density than freshwater.
Okay,
makes sense. I'll buy that.
Would that be easier? Because like you don't have to work as much to stay afloat, right? In theory.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the
but
dead sea.
like
to
being
move through it takes
but yeah,
more.
but moving side to side, like horizontally, it's going to be harder to move. So I guess like since it's acting like fresh water, those things would be flipped. It'd be easier to parallel, but kind of harder to stay up.
Yeah.
It might not be very noticeable unless you're doing it for an extended amount of time, but but who knows? We won't notice it because this is life now. This is reality.
Mm-hmm.
Everything acts like fresh water.
Man, I'm just thinking of like building water system. Like you no longer. So like right now you have a water main like that goes to your house, and then you have an outlet water that goes out and like processes to the like.
Do you know how much worse oil spills would be? Because like we'd be piping in water from the ocean, right?
Oh,
and all of a sudden,
you can't
BP
drink oil.
goes, oh no, we just burst an oil tanker, and now where you were piping in water to your house, now you're just getting pure oil through your sink.
Calling out a specific oil company.
Yeah,
Anyway, I want to go back to mine. So you like currently you have like a water inlet and like your water outlet goes to the sewers, whatever, right? You don't need that anymore. Each house can just have a self-contained water system that you just have like your own reservoir that it can just cycle through because it doesn't need to like clean the water.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's very easy to make a self-sustaining just anything.
So how does this affect peeing in the shower?
Okay. I think if we're going to go into the topic of waste,
I don't think we should.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like we could say stuff, but I don't know if we're going to.
I mean, we are not because we already went into drinking sweat, and I'm drawing the line at drinking sweat.
But do you consider urine to be water? I mean, at what point of not hydrated does it become not water enough?
Look that up on your own time.
I remember one year when we were doing weight certifications for wrestling, and one of my teammates, when he was a freshman, he was like a lot lighter than the lightest weight class, and so he was just trying to bulk up. He was drinking a ton of water every day. And he was like so hydrated because one of the things they do is they make sure you're not like dehydrating yourself to be able to make it to a certain weight class, and so they test the specific gravity of your pee, and he was so hydrated that it was indistinguishable from water, so he had to retake the certification test.
Dang.
Interesting.
And so in that way I would argue that if you're hydrated enough, it's water.
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I think the reason that like home video stores went away is because they couldn't get enough water. You know?
Do tell. And they needed this water for cleaning
the VHS tapes.
Yeah.
you know how VHS tapes work. You got to put them in water in order for them to
Right, and water.
rewind.
It was so expensive in the '90s or
well
2000s.
it's not necessarily that it was expensive. It was just like it got to a point like you had to clean the water each time, which was just like problematic.
And when you're cleaning water, you got to use more water to scrub it off.
Exactly, you got to scrub the water off with water, and so I think home to video stores would come back. Can you think of any like franchises specifically that might?
Family Video, maybe.
Family Video, yeah.
Blockbuster.
You know, I don't know if we've ever brought that up on the podcast. Blockbuster coming back would be a pretty interesting.
Yeah, imagine
result.
a world where we still had Blockbuster.
That'd be so funny if it came back as a result of a hypothetical.
Hypothetical, Blockbuster buys out Netflix when they had the chance.
Blockbuster buys out all the FANG companies.
All right. How much money do you think Netflix would make by like rebranding to Blockbuster?
I think there's a lot more like deep in the roots problem with Netflix right now that I don't know if just changing the name would fix it.
I'm pretty sure it would fix it for me.
Interesting. Well, speaking of all these big name companies, a word from our sponsors. Our sponsors this week is Blank Checks. Have you ever been in need of an additional paycheck? Or maybe just need some help paying for a mortgage or a hospital bill? Well, with a blank check from Blank Checks, you can now get the amount of money you need from the source you know has it. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's already such a thing as blank checks. I get them from my bank. Well, these are innovative as they are blank on the from part and the amount part. Blank Checks are partnering with all FDIC approved banks. At the start of July 2022, you can go into your bank and ask for some checks.
I'll say I used one of these the other day to cover my casino losses. It's very nice.
Yeah, you'll see ads for these companies where they're like, hey, get paid for your work before, your general pay period using this app. But, there's always some kind of like stipulation. There's
Cash
no
advance.
Stipulation with blank checks.
High interest fees.
Yeah.
That's all gone now.
You just put your name on the from, or put your employer's name on the from, put the amount, bam, you're good to go. Blank checks.
No question asked. Well, with that, segment C. And Daniel, what does segment C stand for?
Segment C, and C is for knowledge, as we all know.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about that, Lindsay.
So segment C this time around is going to be from the Today I Learned Reddit page. Credit of the idea goes to Brent, who apparently is giving credit to someone else, but we won't talk about that. And these are
original ideas only here.
These posts are just more or less, from my understanding, just random facts, and I will read them verbatim so that if you wanted to know the source of the information, you could look this up on Reddit and find the link for it. The first one is, a bonsai tree is not a species of tree. It is just a regular tree. Bonsai is a method of growing trees, which aims to create an image of a large, mature tree, but in miniature.
I actually knew that one.
So what is the species of tree that is typically used as a bonsai tree?
I do not know.
I think it could be anything. Like, you just trim it in such a way that it never grows bigger than, bonsai size.
Yeah, but like, I feel like there's like one that is mainly used for.
I would assume it's some kind of tree native to Japan.
I was about to say the exact line, yeah.
It says juniper. Oh, well, okay. This just
like cherry blossom trees, maybe.
Yeah, sakura.
I don't know what the name of
sakura. That means cherry blossom in Japanese.
That's why I said it, Brent.
But I don't know. I don't know a lot about Japanese.
That's quite interesting. If you just Google like different bonsai
Somethinology.
trees, like I've never seen a pine tree as a bonsai tree.
But there is one?
They have it here.
That's awesome.
Very interesting.
All right. Ready for the next one?
Yep.
not only is magnetic tape still used for data retention, its relatively low cost, low error rate, and high capacity makes it extremely attractive for cloud storage.
So magnetic tape, so that would be like the stuff in cassettes and VHSs, right?
Yeah, it is used in that, but also in like, if you think of like very old, like server, if you picture like a server from the 60s, like that's what.
Yeah.
I don't that's interesting because like at the college I went to, we had like basically like museum pieces in the Double E building of like those things. I'd be curious to know. So like, believe it or not, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the podcast before, but I am a electrical engineer. I don't know how it hasn't ever come up before, but like I have not seen magnetic tape used in many, like I'm struggling to think of a modern day thing I've seen magnetic tape used in.
I was gonna say what's the source on this one, but they did put a link, and it is to the IEEE website.
Yeah, like
So
I believe it could be true, but like specifically I'm in the more manufacturing and like energy departments, like not electronics, and so I believe it could be a thing in electronics, but like in the manufacturing and energy industry, I have not seen anything. I'm sure there probably is, but
Yeah. The first comment says,
I don't know of any.
magnetic tape and cloud storage are two phrases I never thought I'd see in the same sentence. Which I had the same same thought when I read it initially.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I feel like sometimes it's good. I think to myself, it's very good we don't have a very large following, because like sometimes, like the thing I just said, I don't know of any other double E's that listen to this podcast, so I don't think it'll be disputed. So cool. Whereas if we had like a very large following, some double E would like be in the comments. Well, actually, if you look at
pushes up glasses like an anime MC.
Exactly. I'm so glad my voice.
I'll take any one
that.
posting in the comments at this point.
Absolutely. We should just start making outrageous claims and just hoping someone will be like,
that is
actually, please do not eat your dinosaur. I don't know.
Okay. Continuing. 6 hours of work per day is the optimum amount of productivity. The countries with the highest average working hours are also the ones with lowest productivity, which, for hearing from multiple managers at my current company, which I don't know if I've stated where I work, but they said that on the manufacturing side, they consider that only no more than 6 hours of productive work will be taking place during our 8-hour day. So they took that into account.
Yeah, I absolutely like. This isn't a today I learned, because like just from experience, I feel like everyone inherently knows that within 8 hours, at least 2 of them are utterly pointless.
Well, but there is something to like just giving someone a smaller time slot. I know if there was a day before I moved when I was working, and like if I had a doctor's appointment in the morning or something, and so I came in a couple hours late, if I was staring down 6 hours of work, I would immediately be way more productive than if I got there on time. I was like, all right, I have 8 hours of work. Like, I probably got, 3 times as much done a day where I'm there for 6 hours than I did a day I was there for 8 hours,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It definitely seems like around 3 or 2 hours left in your day is like when it starts dragging on like much more.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, 8-hour workday, not, especially in an office job, I don't think really makes a ton of sense.
Oh, yeah.
Oftentimes. I mean, there are things like programming, or if you're a game developer where, like, yeah, you have to put in big hours sometimes to get things done, but...
Yeah, I think if you get anyone passionate about what they do, they'd probably be willing to do more than 6 hours, like, efficiently. But I think that average Joe who at anywhere from tolerates his or her job all the way to like is okay with it, somewhat enjoying it, will probably still stay in that range of 6 hours is the optimal amount of time to work. All right, this is the last one I have specified, but I can read over more. Today I learned Yakuza bosses in Japan aren't allowed to buy smartphones and are forced to use old 3G flip phones. I haven't read the source, but I wonder if they're like, I wonder if like there's just like a name list that like everyone knows, like the like even outside of the Yakuza, that other people in Japan just know the boss's name so well that they like keep them off of it, or is there a different reason?
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like you want to like catch the Yakuza boss, right? You just look for the one person in the world left with a flip phone, and it's like, oh, yep, he's the boss.
Well, the first comment on it says this is a deceptively written headline, and the actual issue is that they can't upgrade to new cell phone contracts because, quote, mobile phone service providers' contracts require signees to swear they are not members of organized crime groups to avoid liability in the event a customer turns out to be a mobster, end quote.
Interesting.
And the person who commented, that would be you/Xylon Bane 2 hours ago, as of recording. Anyways, they said, so basically, if you lie about being a mobster and buy a smartphone and you get caught, it's fraud and you get investigated.
Huh.
Either way, you find my point still stands. I say you find like all you need to do is to find out who's in the Yakuza is to just, I guess technically they have a thing about like apologize or making amends by like cutting off certain parts of fingers, but like that who knows, there could be accidents, blah blah blah. If they have a flip phone, boom, you know. Also, I watched a video the other day. I didn't watch the entire thing, and so this is just cherry picked from the video, but at one point like the CIA helped the Yakuza overthrow someone.
Huh.
Very, very vague, but
Sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, what hasn't the CIA done? We're gonna strike that from the recording so the CIA doesn't come after us.
It's like that scene in The Godfather where, you know, Michael comes back from it. Have you guys seen The Godfather?
Yep.
Or so like he comes back from Italy and he's talking to his wife and, you know, trying to make amends, but, you know, he had to be in Italy for a while, lay low, because, you know, he's head of a crime family. And she's like, he goes, you know, what we're doing, it's like no different from someone like the CIA. She goes, you're being naive. The CIA doesn't have people killed. He goes, now who's being naive?
Wow.
Big.
That's a... Let me point you to the JFK movie. Just kidding. That's a hot take that maybe should be stricken from the record.
I don't even know what you're talking about, but
I can't remember the name of it. It's a really interesting movie. I think it's literally just JFK.
I think I remember you mentioning
it is,
that.
yeah.
Is it like a documentary or is it just like a story
of
JFK's life or what?
So it's right after JFK is killed, and it's about a guy who's investigating. He's, oh my goodness, I don't remember. So it's like based on real life, but it is a drama. But it's on I forgot what his technical role was. He was from New Orleans, and he was like a DA, I want to say, or something. But like he got into the JFK case, and like there were things that weren't adding up, and it's very interesting. And like that movie is partially a reason for the sealed documents around the JFK assassination, like by the CIA, being released, and like some were released I want to say like a couple of years ago, and then there are still like just a couple that are under seal by the CIA, but I think they're supposed to not be sealed in the next couple of years.
Did anything come of the ones that have been unsealed? Was there anything strange in them?
I don't want to make any claims because I haven't read them, and B, haven't even like I didn't even look too deep into the summaries of them. So if you're interested, you can look them up yourself.
Sounds like you're,
because I've made too many unbased like claims purely based on background knowledge that I may or may not have, and so I'm drawing the line here because I don't want to get sock dogger. Like even if it cost me the sock dogger, I'm not gonna do it.
That okay. Sure.
We didn't use it last episode, so I figured
we haven't used
it
in a lot of episodes.
That's probably why I'm
Probably
forgetting
87.
bombastic words. It didn't recognize much because we almost never use them anymore.
Yeah.
We stopped making it a game. That's a big problem.
1 point to Gryffindor, and also me.
Brent, you would
Fake
not be
fan.
Gryffindor.
You've only seen one movie. It's like the last
Actually,
one.
maybe you would.
I've seen the last movie.
Yeah,
Part 2,
Brent would be a
which is
Gryffindor.
like a part 2 of the like the final series.
I can't. That's
I knew nothing of what's
lost
going on.
respect from me for that.
I do not does not matter. Like your respect is nothing in comparison to me finishing top 250 and how much I desired to do.
But you're
that.
done with top 250, and you
I
can
know.
go back and watch them, and they're.
No interest.
You just have to like the first two are like slightly better than okay, and then like the third and the like sixth movie are top tier.
I went from watching a movie a night, and actually, like, by the end, watching more than one movie a night, to, like, I still go to the theaters occasionally, but, like, I just don't watch movies anymore because I got so burnt out. And that I finished that over a year ago at this point.
That's like...
Was it over? No, it wasn't.
No, it's been like half a year.
It's like 6 months-ish. But, like, I still just don't watch movies on my own time anymore because, like, I'm still burnt out. So maybe one day when I watch movies again, but for now,
It's like one time...
I only watch TV.
When I was hunkering down to do a lot of homework my freshman year. And so I went to Jimmy John's and I got myself 3 loaves of bread because they sell day-old loaves of bread for 50 cents a piece. And I was like, this will be my sustenance for the night. And I'm going to get through all 3 of them. And so, you know, I get through one. I'm already feeling good. But I'm like, well, I have 2 more loaves of bread. So we got to keep going. And I get, like, maybe a quarter into the second one. I'm like, man, I'm starting to get kind of full. but I keep eating. You know, I'm halfway through. And I'm like, you know, now I'm kind of... now I'm really feeling good. And by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, I should not eat another bite. And it was like hard to swallow anymore. And I just ended up like, I had done like 1 assignment, maybe 2. And I just laid down on the floor in the kitchen of my dorm and just held my stomach. I was in so much pain. Because then like the bread was like expanding a little bit. And I was like, oh.
Was it anything like the time you ate a Carolina Reaper and you were in the bathroom? Like that's exactly I can picture what happened to you with the bread perfectly. Because I'm just picturing what happened to you.
Rolling around, but I was
exactly. I'm just
the kitchen floor felt nice because, you know, it was tile, so it was kind of cold, and that gave me a little relief. And I was just like, Harry, why'd you let me do this? It's like, I didn't tell you to do this.
Maybe you should have like gone in a circle by moving your legs. That might help.
That may have helped. Yeah, you're right. It did help with the Reaper.
Carolina.
But anyways, after that incident, like, I could not eat bread for a while.
Yep.
Oh, and after the Carolina Reaper, because that wrecked me so hard, I could not eat spicy food for like a year and a half without my stomach turning.
I still like the one time. This is getting long, so the final story, I'm claiming it. I went to, when I was working at Toys R Us, I went to Wendy's one day during lunch, and I ordered chicken nuggets, but they gave me spicy on accident, and like I ate literally like half a nugget, and like I stood up and like started going to the bathroom because I was like, I'm about to throw up. Like I could not handle it whatsoever. But I didn't throw up, but I did spit it out because I could not possibly consume a spicy thing. I still don't in general. I still avoid spicy things.
Yeah, I kind of made myself get used to spicy.
I already
stuff
claimed the last
after
story,
that.
bud.
This is the same story. No, I just like spicy food. I think there are a lot of good foods that just happen to be spicy that I wanted to eat, so I just made myself get used to it after a while because I was tired of not even being able to eat a jalapeno.
Jalapenos are 350,000 Scoville units.
All right. I think we could stay continuously continuing this conversation. So let's conclude, shall we?
Yep.
Ladies
We
and
can go
gentlemen-
longer in the conclusion, but we're finally in the conclusion at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
Steps, people. Steps. Progression is being made. Be sure to hit us up on all social media platforms that you can find our name because no one's doing it, and it is sad. We are depressed. Well, we need we.
Unrelated to the social media thing, but you know.
Yeah. Please send help.
Oh, okay. Final thoughts, anyone?
Don't forget about that Patreon. Tier 1 is seeing Brent to get to eat a meal. Tier 2 is seeing him with working AC. Don't forget to do that. We actually did make a post. I want to say it was on Instagram recently. A loyal listener of the podcast made a picture of the proper way to use armrests on an airplane, and I'm pretty sure that was posted to our Instagram. So if you want to see a very finely drawn picture, you can look us up at, I believe it's We Bombastic Few. No underscores or spaces? Question mark.
I believe so, yes.
We're probably the only We Bombastic Few on Instagram anyway. So.
But not the Bombastic podcast. Heads up.
Correct.
But we have the email.
I believe we've surpassed.
Yeah,
that
we've
podcast
got the
in
email.
listeners. So we are the
who's
superior
the real
bombastic.
winner? Exactly. Shout out to Mom. Will Smith. We're still waiting on that podcast acceptance to hear.
Maybe a segment we
And-
could do later on is calling his see if he's got someone like an agent
Yeah,
or
a
whatever.
phone.
An agent, you call his agent and just have a conversation and just
Dude, we'll sell him the email. We'll
What?
Get a hold of.
We're gonna sell him the Bombastic Podcast email.
Yeah.
why would we do that to Will Smith's agent?
When did Will Smith come into play?
Oh my gosh.
Which-
Okay, I don't think Daniel has any final thoughts because he is on a whole different page here. But with that, everyone have a bombastic week. We'll see you next time.